folks, as Isabel said, we're going to talk about standardization and around IoT wholesale. Thank you first and foremost for being here and joining us today. If you don't know me, I'm Nassia Skoulikariti, and I am the MEF Program Director for the segment IoT Wholesale. The wholesale market is expanding at a fast pace, finally, but it's not growing evenly, I would say. When it comes to APIs, they're multiplying. Standards, well, less so. The more loosely defined for that matter. Enterprises want more reliability, faster onboarding, and clearer contracts. Instead, what they're getting often is a maze of inconsistent protocols and half-baked integrations. This is part of what we will tackle today. We'll explore what's holding the ecosystem back, where real progress is happening. We'll also talk about the gaps between operators, enterprises, and standard bodies. And we'll try to bring some order to all these chaos, from security, scale, commercial models. Everything is on the table. And to achieve this endeavor and to take you through this journey, I am joined today with a wonderful panel of experts. So please let me introduce you to Andrew Parkin-White, who's the co-founder of TecFutures, Cedric Mauvielle, VP Sales, Global Wireless Connectivity and IoT Solutions from PCCW Global, Charles Bernard, the Head of Innovation at Cellusys, and last but not least, Didier Durand, Roaming Director from Orange Wholesale France. Gentlemen, welcome. Happy to have you along on this journey.
Thank you, Nassia.
Thank you, Nassia.
Well, we heard earlier from Isabel, and I just preambled again that the IoT wholesale ecosystem, when it comes to standardization, is fragmented, right? Yet the global IoT market is currently expanding. Well, it's seeing a resurrection, an expanding period, I would say, which is quite significant. And if we are to believe what the experts are saying, it's expected to see an expenditure of over 76 billion over the next couple of 12 months for that matter. And when it comes to the IoT wholesale side of things, and particularly around roaming, that expansion for the next 2 years is around 8 billion. This demonstrates an increasing demand for connectivity that transcends, I would say, the geographical barriers and makes standardization even more important. Yet the IoT landscape is fragmented, whether we're talking about APIs or not. So let's look at this. Andrew, I will start with you. And if you can give us a reality check, sir, on where the wholesale IoT market stands right now and what really needs our attention.
Okay, I'm probably going to repeat some of the things you've already said, Nassia, and things Isabel has said. But if you want to say something, you might as well say it 3 times. But yeah, TecFutures has recently been doing a research survey, and we've spoken to 12 CSPs, a mix of MVNOs and MNOs, etc. And we've asked them about wholesale IoT, but we've also asked them about what they see as the key trends happening in the marketplace. So as you say, at a high level, revenues are shifting in CSPs towards the enterprise, and IoT is naturally a growing part of that. And wholesale is, of course, an integral part of an MNO's offering in driving market development. And as you say, it's experiencing significant growth and transformation at present, driven by both technological advancements and increased enterprise demands. I think sort of what we're seeing is particularly the enterprise IoT market is changing, and it's shifting from the early adopters, the more pioneering sort of organizations who could take IoT and mold it into what they need, to more mainstream mainstream enterprise customers. And we're seeing sort of quite a few trends coming out. I mean, first of all, which is not great news, is the commoditization of connectivity. And we're seeing pricing pressure and some players putting very low price points into the marketplace. But that's kind of pushing providers, pushing CSPs, MNOs to offer value-added services beyond basic connectivity. And we're seeing the emergence of new pricing commercial models. So definitely flexibility is needed. There's also the increasing demand, as you say, for global connectivity solutions, particularly in some of the key sectors like automotive and healthcare. eSIM is proving to be a bit of a game changer. It's lowering barriers to entry and intensifying competitions. We can't have a session like this without mentioning AI and the growing importance of AI and machine learning in IoT solutions, particularly around data analytics and anomaly detection. And there's an increasing attention towards hybrid solutions. I know we sort of, as mobile network operators, like to think of a cellular basis, but we're seeing sort of the growing importance of things like satellite and hybrid solutions. We do see some challenges ahead, which Isabel pointed to. So we see optimistic growth projections, but we see several challenges that could impede market growth. And these include variable network coverage, interoperability, scalability, security concerns, as well as a regulatory environment, and the need to educate customers on what IoT is all about, particularly for those newer customers. We see also that, sort of, as you mentioned, standardization plays a crucial role in driving the wholesale IoT market in terms of offering interoperability, reducing complexity, building market confidence. And APIs also have a crucial role to play through standardization, integration, and scalability. So I think I've probably used up my few minutes there. So I'll let you hand the floor over to someone else, Nassia.
Well, thank you, Andrew. That was quite a comprehensive overview of where the market is at the moment. And with that in mind, I would like to give the floor to Cedric. Cedric, you've been involved with a MEF working group and that is looking at standardization. And we start talking at it first, during MWC. And what I would like is to get some highlights from you connecting the market with the work that we've been doing at MEF and the progress that the initiative is doing. If you can help us put an overarching, holistic view into that sector.
Yeah, thank you, Nassia, and thanks for the MEF to have organized this wonderful online conference. I would say, first of all, like standardization, it's a very strong word, and a lot of different companies, a lot of new entrants are always very scared when you really say standardization. And really, what we're trying to achieve within the MEF is more like try to organize this wholesale environment, trying to give best practice in what people should be able to find if they want to get started in the wholesale environment. Okay, what's available, what are different actors, what are the different assets that they can purchase and how, and what they have to build around that. And I think what we've done, we started a few months ago with the realization that the IoT wholesale is extremely, as you said, fragmented. Every regions, every actors has built everything based on their background. It was extremely telco oriented. And telco is not a bad thing, but we have seen how the cloud has evolved, how AI has evolved, and how technology has infused itself into our telecom business. We see a lot of new actors that have zero technical background on the telecommunications. So they are really software engineers. I think that what Mark says during his keynotes. We need to embrace and we need to open doors to people that don't come from a telecom background to join into our wholesale environment. But then we can really massify through them, because they bring new use cases, new way of doing business that we would never imagine ourselves.
Sorry, Cedric, your sound comes in and out. If you can really? Just either bring the microphone a little bit closer so we can hear you clearly. Apologies for interrupting.
No, that's all right. Is it slightly better?
Yeah, just if you can keep it closer like that, it works.
My apologies. So yeah, what I was saying is, as some of the previous participants have said, the telecom industry and the wholesale industry is facing a lot of new entrants that have zero technical knowledge on telecommunications. And what we try to achieve with the MEF is not really to standardize, but to organize, and really to give a clear, straightforward pictures for all these new entrants and all the actors like us of what we have to do in order to achieve a scale that we can achieve ourselves. And all these new entrants. So we've started with a CDR, which was one first step, which was obviously the low-hanging fruit, and then okay.
Okay, well, while we're waiting for Cedric to check out his technology challenge right there, I think the gist is that what he mentioned that during the MEF initiative on the working group, we're looking beyond standardization, but rather organizing what might need to be standardized. And standardization stands, I would say, as the cornerstone of the future of IoT wholesale. And the key there is to establish universally accepted specifications and protocols that will enable in genuine interoperability across the vast, diverse array of devices and applications that really constitute the Internet of Things. A primary driver for standardization is the fundamental need to ensure interoperability. This means guaranteeing that devices manufactured by different companies can communicate with each other and exchange data efficiently. Well, Charles, why unified protocols, why APIs, CDRs are so critical?
All right, thank you, Nassia, for the question. But I'd like to define what is a protocol first. The protocol is, it's a set of methods to exchange information and to bring orders. You can think of a way of a protocol as greeting someone when you meet them for the first time. I'm pretty sure the French, the Belgian, the Greek, the English, and everyone, we all have similar ways, but we have our slight differences. Well, when we want to interact and integrate different players in the IoT wholesale ecosystem, we need all of us to talk, to exchange information the same way. It's probably similar the way we do at the moment, but it needs to be exactly the same. Otherwise, we won't be able to integrate new players. And as the ecosystem grow, having a set of protocols which is shared by everyone would be essential. Furthermore, I think that if we onboard a new player and we don't have a set of protocol, not only it would be complex for these new players to join and limit probably innovation at a point. What would happen is they would work with the biggest player. The biggest player will tell the new joiners, this is how I'm doing it, and I'm the biggest one. So if you want to work with me, work that way. And that's definitely not something we want. We don't want a de facto way of working which is imposed by the biggest player, because that would definitely kill the competition in the whole ecosystem. So protocol is not unifying the protocol or standardizing them, even though Cedric doesn't want to use the word standardize, so for this we use the word putting guidelines or enforcing strong guidelines on how to exchange information. Yes, it's not only to help new players to come on board, but it's also to avoid that we get into a locked environment where dominant players are imposing their rules, which would be a dramatic for the innovation in the space.
Well, like you said, is the absence of comprehensive standardization and protocols in the IoT wholesale ecosystem, it does present quite a few challenges, right? So that could impede the growth and the potential to even grow the industry, expand the industry even further. Didier, so I'm going to come next to you. How does this lack of standardization impacts growth? Can we look at it a little bit more in detail?
Yes, thank you for inviting me into this great event, Nassia. So the lack of standardization impact obviously the growth. I will say for the moment and for the year before. So we mainly use roaming for the development of the IoT. And because I think the IoT needs a global coverage, covering several countries, and for the biggest enterprise, so the request to cover the world, especially for automotive player or on the health domain. And GSM and roaming with a standard solution was the main answer. But now there is a challenge that appears clearly on the market. More and more countries are not tolerate roaming, especially permanent roaming, whatever the reason. It could be for regulation reason, commercial or technical reason. So roaming won't be the appropriate solution. And so now if you want to deliver global connectivity, you have to use a local profile in some territory, and to deliver these IoT services in those countries. The point is that for each operator, you will have to build a specific project to be able to use their local profile and integrate their local CDR in your global platform to provide a full services to your end customer. Because there is no standardized API or CDR for such project. So, and at the end, these solutions are more complex to deploy, and so more complex, more costly. And you will have only a few providers around the world who are able to provide this type of solution. And so, as it's more complex and more costly, I will say there is a lot of enterprise who do not address their global IoT services, and so they will limit the IoT in their product because it will be too much cost for them, or they will limit the geographic coverage of their product. And so at the end, there is less growth on the IoT market. For the moment, the only industry already deployed globally the IoT services is the automotive, because for sure there is a high value when you buy a car, so we are able to cover the cost of this complexity and lack of standardization.
Okay, well, this is this makes a lot of sense. And Cedric, I'm going to put you on the spot, and because I want to check that your microphone is also working and see if you have anything in addition to talk about how the lack of standardization impacts growth from your experience in the market. What have you seen?
This time with the sound was better.
So.
Okay, that's kind of weird.
Perhaps you could switch off the video, Cedric.
I can hear you clearly now. Oh no, you're muted, so it wasn't. All right.
Said mute. Is that better?
It's better. Let's keep it like that, Cedric. So.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. So because of the scale, if you take any original player that start business in IoT, they will start with a regional actor in IoT. And if there's no standardization, if they want to grow to different regions, or if they want to go global, then they will have to redo everything from scratch again, which is adding new cost, which also hindering their capacity to innovate. And what we've known and what we've seen in this wholesale business, whether it's voice, SMS, messaging, or API, we need all this new blood, all these technologists, not just telecom engineers, but all these technologists to come in with new ideas and really use our assets of telecom and build new business model that we didn't know existed, and we'll be able to snowball around that. And this need of having a very fair playground, clear rules for everybody to come in really is going to benefit the industry as a whole, as we have seen for voice, we have seen for SMS. And we believe that IoT, as you said, is a growing business with a lot more devices being deployed in the field, with AI driving more and more devices, more and more data to be collected. We definitely need to get this organization for anybody to come in and being able to enjoy and consume the different assets that we have pulled in the market, and that we're going to put more and more in the future.
Okay. Well, that said, it all comes down to combining innovation and managing standardization in a way that it doesn't impede, I would say, that innovation. And Charles, how can we drive innovation and business expansion without getting caught up in too much operational standardization? It's a fine area that we need to manage.
It is indeed. You can say overstandardization will be a limiting for innovation. I like to use when we talk about standardization, the example of the QWERTY keyboard that was not meant to be that we tried to standardize afterwards, but it was the one that was there because it was the most efficient way of doing it at the beginning, and then it just transferred to what we have now. I mean, I'm getting us to the point, but one of the factors of innovation would be the number of players we would have, and that would be the way to get new players that will come with new ideas, as Cedric said earlier, and adding more standardization to that would indeed be a problem. Having the fine line would be the challenge. How we can achieve that? I think we need to be receptive to what the market wants and what are the use cases, because then we will fall into another pitfall, which is standardization for standardization. If we just roll out there and put standard, but we don't have any use case for that, we will just make standards and no one will use them. So we need contribution. We need people to come and tell us, hey, I'm a consumer I would be using your APIs, and I would be the one that would be willing to see those APIs. So it comes down also to contribution to an extent of what the market and what the players would want to help us, to help drive a good innovation and good standardization, without limiting the innovation.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Andrew, I will come to you and ask you, from your experience in the research that you've done, what enterprises expect from IoT wholesale suppliers and how the industry is responding on the overall standardization when it comes to APIs or when it comes to CDRs or whatever may be.
Yeah. That's a good question, Nassia. And I think my first observation is that the enterprise market isn't one market; it's lots and lots of markets. And we're seeing, as innovation develops or as growth develops, that we're moving away from the less sophisticated, from the more sophisticated enterprise customers to the less sophisticated ones. And we're definitely seeing trends. Didier mentioned automotive, and we see that now as kind of saturating along with other segments like transportation. But there's a lot of growth still in industrial IoT, smart cities, agriculture, and healthcare. And from the research we've been doing, there's a lot of noise about the growing importance of SMBs and indeed business-to-business, consumer, B2C. Those are all sort of markets. And I think what these markets need is some sort of confidence in terms of growing, and these are not sophisticated customers like your BMWs or Volkswagens of this world. So standardization has a key role to play, as do APIs. And we're seeing within these new enterprises adopting that they're typically seeking integrated out-of-the-box type solutions that are targeted to their specific verticals rather than generic connectivity services. We see an increasing demand for low latency applications. And again, as other panelists have pointed out, the growing need for global connectivity solutions. So I sort of summarize that to say standardization and APIs are driving innovation in the enterprise IoT market. They provide a scalable, flexible foundation to develop new applications, to develop new services, and to alter business models and use cases.
Okay, well, thank you, Andrew. And on the back of what Andrew mentioned around the enterprises, Didier, I would like to get your perspective of the role of the wholesale providers in facilitating, connectivity and standardization. Let's look at both ends of the spectrum.
Yes, so the role of the wholesale provider are quite vital for the development of the IoT. Indeed, if you start from zero, as someone said, if it will take several years for you to build a global coverage, even a regional coverage via roaming or the use of local profile. And so the wholesale provider are managing this complexity to offer you to the end enterprise or the enterprise who serve the end customer this global coverage with a unique interface through their APIs. This wholesale provider allow the other operators, small MNOs or MVNOs, to provide the services to the enterprise, even to small enterprise. And we can also provide different business models. So we offer the flexibility for all the I would say the third party to provide the IoT services to end customer. And the wholesale provider, RDN, also probably will work together in the near future, I hope, to define APIs for IoT. For the moment, we do not have any standardization or APIs for IoT. We did good progress actually on APIs for network APIs with the camera project. It allows now for a big enterprise to easily check a KYC or SIM swap or roaming status of a customer. So it's really helpful to deliver digital services. But for IoT services, for the moment, we are not there. Each wholesale provider have their own APIs, and so we are not at this stage, but hopefully we will be able to progress. We have also good progress with the new norm of eSIM, SGP 31 and 32, and that allows also more players to enter in the IoT services.
Okay. I mean, you very clearly mentioned, Didier, that every organization, IoT wholesale or operator have their own set of APIs, and that comes with its own challenges when we're trying to integrate and make a cohesive IoT ecosystem. That said, Cedric, I'll come back to you and take this a little bit further into other. Didier mentioned Camara, but what other instances and organizations are driving the standardization effort? Any regulatory bodies that you're familiar with, or any other initiatives that we need to mention?
I think it joins some of the topic that Charles and Didier have shared a bit earlier. There is a lot of standardization bodies available around. The TM Forum, the MEF, the GLF, all have built a set of APIs and framework for people to build APIs across different networks and different telcos, across different wholesalers. And I think, the initiative that we took really is not to redo all this, what these bodies have done. It's really to see, what is more efficient and what is more down to the ground, what is really required for the IoT ecosystem itself. And what can we pick from different initiatives, from different experiences, from different use cases, and being able to extract that substance and being able to say, this is what the industry as a whole on the IoT wholesale should be able to provide to every new entrant or between themselves. So then everybody is communicating on the same basic information on the API. Something that can grow. But really, as Charles says, we don't want to restrict or limit people what to do, but we want people to have the same basic communication between each other. And I think I will take the example of what SIP did to the voice over IP business a long time ago. SIP was giving a very easy framework for people to access, but it was not too over complex, so new entrants can really take it and absorb it. Compared to for all people, H323 at the time was the golden crown of the voice over IP, but it was overly complex. And what happened is all these new entrants, all these IP, voice over IP players, all these SBC guys came in, took SIP because it was easier and more and faster to deploy, and built it from there. And I think we're at this stage with IoT. Are we going to the complex way of the telco? Are we going to the easy way of the techno? And I think the MEF
what would you prefer, Cedric?
I was a telco guy, and I'm moving as a techno person. It's I can see that the business, the young generation, the 20 plus something, have no knowledge of how to build a mobile network, and they really don't care about it. What they want is to deploy. They want to make it fast. They want to make it quick, and they want to make it efficient. How it works behind, I think it went to the link video just bit earlier. People consume telecom. They don't need to know how it works. They just want it to work.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's we just want the results, not the work that goes behind it from the end user perspective, for that matter. Charles, I think we ought to talk a little bit about security. And since our panel expert will all things security, I would say, I would come to you and if you can enlighten us a little bit around the challenges and the risks when we're looking at a little bit beyond standardization, right? But the cybersecurity itself.
Yeah, calling me a security expert is a big thing, but I'll chip in nevertheless. Well, I mean, we have to understand that an API is a public entry point to a system which is holding a valuable information from the different players in the system, and that's just golden for hackers. We just expose an entry point for them, and APIs are notorious for being a great surface attack for hackers. And the more APIs we define, the more we design a vulnerable system. So we have to design it with security in mind. Just to name a few examples, but an API with a weak encryption, weak authentication, mismanagement of the permissions that one user can have when they access the API. This could cause several issues, such as data breach, you can think of man-in-the middle. I mean, just think about what would happen if one user connect to the system with their own rights and with excessive permission. They can allocate IMSIs of another account to their account, or they can activate IMSIs from another account to their account. This is fairly basic hacking if you have a poor design API. So definitely we need to think of security in mind when we design the API. And one could think that, do we risk to over-standardize the API if we include security? Well, my answer is, well, I don't care. I mean, we cannot risk to have security breach or issues. So if it has to be a bit over-standardized, well, be it. Security comes first. Otherwise, we won't build trust in the system, in the ecosystem we build. And I think, like what Cedric said, we don't have to reinvent the wheel either. There are many guidelines out there on how to build secure APIs. And if we work to turn how to the bodies that have worked on it, such as TM4 and Metro Ethernet Forum, Camera, and others to name, they've all produced APIs and guidelines on how to make those APIs secure. So there's definitely ways to make our job easy, and we can define the secure APIs. So it is a challenge, but it's not like we're exploring unknown territories. But we should definitely keep that in mind, and I don't think we should compromise on security, even if we have over-standardized a little bit.
Okay. Well, it's they are saying necessary evil when it comes to security and securing any system for that matter. And I think with that, we have a few minutes left on this panel, but we'll be remiss not to talk about how transformative the wholesale opportunity is for the ecosystem. But to reach its full potential, we need to address the fragmentation, the current landscape through comprehensive standardization that doesn't block innovation and also allows comprehensive security. Not a small feat, I must say. So, gentlemen, I would like to end our discussion with a question of what are the biggest barriers to scaling IoT standardization? I mean, if it's APIs or CDRs or anything else globally. And I will come first to you, Cedric, then Didier, then Charles, and then Andrew, so we can close the loop.
Well, I think the biggest barrier that we have today is that until we started to discuss here at the MEF, there was no real requirements or requests from the wholesale industry to improve the communication between the different bodies. I think that's the biggest issue to scale.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Didier, what about you? We'll just go a little bit rapid fire here.
No, I think it took a long time to build this API network, but I'm quite sure now it's live. We will see the fruit of this long work, and so I'm quite confident that that we will be able to progress on this side. I think the first step should be only to define the function of the API we would like to propose to the end customer. What will be the function aside, I would say, a technological standardization. At least we can have a full set comprehensive of common function between the wholesale provider that will allow an easy understanding from all the people, all the enterprises who would like to set up an IoT services, because for the moment it's quite hidden behind the wholesale provider. So if you would like to build an IoT services, you have to discuss with several wholesale provider. There is no a global framework that help you to understand what you will need to do to deploy this IoT services. So the first steps could be this one, I think.
Okay. All right, Charles, half a minute.
I think the challenge would be the adoption of whatever guidelines we define. Not necessarily adoption by the end user, but all the whole ecosystem. You can always find a remote wholesale provider who is in the ecosystem and is not aware of what is being developed, and will probably won't bother to adopt the guidelines, because until now it worked fine for them. And I think that could be one of the challenges here.
Mm-hmm. And Andrew, do you have one or two words to add to this?
Oh, just one or two. Yeah, I mean, it's the whole point on fragmentation, and things like standardization help with that. They create more confidence in end users. I think the sort of thing when we've done enterprise surveys that comes back time and time again is companies aren't buying technology, they're buying things that create business advantage, that improve customer services, and things that can help with that. I'd also say, not necessarily a barrier, but potentially an opportunity, is that wholesale IoT providers are several steps removed from the end customer. So it's understanding your own customer, which is who you're selling wholesale to, and also understanding your end customer's customer. And I think that's my 2 words done.
Thank you. Well, gentlemen, I would like to thank you again for joining me on this journey today, and to our audience, thank you for bearing with us through technology issues and conversation. My panelists summarized it very nicely, so I would say thank you, and I will pass it on to the MEF team.